You opened that can this morning. You scooped it into the bowl. You watched your dog eat it. And right now, as they're lying next to you, toxins are circulating through their bloodstream. I'm not talking about cheap off-brand garbage. I'm talking about the premium wet dog food sitting in your pantry right now. The one with the veterinarian on the label. The one that costs $4 a can. The one you switched to because you wanted the best for your dog. That food is killing them. Between 2019 and 2024, over 200 dogs died from contaminated wet food, kidney failure, liver damage, neurological collapse. The FDA issued 47 recalls. The numbers kept climbing, and the same brands kept appearing on those lists over and over again. Here's what makes this worse. The ingredients banned in European pet food regulations. They're standard in American wet dog food. We're talking about chemical preservatives that cause tumors in lab animals. Meat byproducts rejected by human food safety standards. Heavy metal concentrations that would shut down a factory in Germany. Your dog can't read labels. They can't research recalls. They trust you completely. And the companies making their food have spent decades exploiting that trust for profit. What I'm about to show you will change how you shop forever. I'm going to walk you through 7 wet dog food brands you need to throw out today. Not next week. Today. I'll tell you exactly what's in them, exactly what it does to your dog's organs, and exactly why these companies kept selling after they knew. Then I'll give you 2 brands that are actually safe. Brands that prove this industry could operate ethically if it wanted to. But first, I need you to do something. Go to your pantry right now. Look at the wet dog food. Drop the brand name in the comments, because chances are it's on this list. Let's start with number 7. You've seen this brand at every vet clinic in America. The white and blue label. The science-based marketing. The commercials with the veterinarian in the lab coat explaining balanced nutrition. You paid premium prices because your vet recommended it, because you thought you were giving your dog prescription-level quality. In March 2023, this brand recalled 86,000 cans of wet food. The reason? Elevated levels of vitamin D, not a little elevated. We're talking 70 times the safe upper limit. Dogs that ate this food developed hypercalcemia. Their calcium levels spiked so high it calcified their kidneys. Imagine kidney stones forming inside functioning organs. That's what happened. The FDA report documented 89 dogs hospitalized. 14 died. The symptoms started within 48 hours: vomiting, excessive thirst, weakness. By the time owners realized something was wrong, the damage was permanent. Here's the part that should make you furious. Internal documents showed the company knew about the vitamin D issue 6 weeks before the recall. They kept shipping, kept selling, kept watching dogs die while they calculated whether a recall would hurt their stock price more than the lawsuits. The wet food itself has this metallic smell when you open it. The texture is paste-like, almost gritty. That's because the protein source is mate and bone meal, which legally can include diseased livestock, euthanized animals, and rendering plant waste. The EU classifies this as Category 3 animal byproduct, unfit for any food chain. But it gets worse. This formula contains ethoxyquin as a preservative. Ethoxyquin was originally developed as a rubber stabilizer, a pesticide. Studies linked it to kidney and thyroid damage in dogs. The EU banned it in pet food in 2017. In America, still perfectly legal. If your dog is over 8 years old, their kidneys are already working harder. If they're on heart medication, the calcium spike from excess vitamin D could trigger arrhythmia. If they're a small breed under 20 pounds, the toxic dose is even lower. The company issued a 2-paragraph apology, offered refunds for returned cans, and then reformulated the exact same product under a slightly different label. No accountability, no transparency, just rebranding. Is this the food your vet recommended? The one you trusted because it came from a clinic? Number 6. This one's the family brand. The one your parents fed their dog. The one with the happy golden retriever on the can. The one that's been on grocery store shelves for 40 years. You grew up seeing those commercials. The warm, wholesome imagery. The message that this brand understands dogs are family. In 2021, this brand was sued in a class action lawsuit for misleading labeling. The lawsuit revealed that the real chicken, advertised on the front of the can, made up less than 4% of the actual product. The primary ingredient was water. The second ingredient was wheat gluten. The third was meat byproducts. Let me explain what meat byproducts actually means. According to AAFCO definitions, this can include lungs, spleens, kidneys, brains, livers, blood, bones, stomachs, and intestines. It can include parts from animals that died before slaughter, parts condemned for human consumption. The EU requires byproducts to be clearly specified by organ. In America, companies can just write byproducts and move on. But the real danger is the sodium content. This brand's wet food contains 478 milligrams of sodium per 100 grams. The safe upper limit for dogs is 100 milligrams per 100 grams. That's almost 5 times the recommended amount. Dogs fed high sodium diets develop hypertension. Their hearts work harder. Their kidneys filter excess sodium, which over time leads to chronic kidney disease. For dogs already on blood pressure medication, this food can cause acute hypertension spikes, weakness, collapse, seizures. The texture is gelatinous. When you scoop it, it holds its shape like aspic. That's because of all the thickening agents and gums. Carrageenan is one of them. Studies have linked carrageenan to gastrointestinal inflammation and even colon cancer in animal models. Banned in infant formula in Europe. Completely fine in American dog food. The smell is overly savory, almost artificial. That's because of the flavor enhancers. Hydrolyzed animal digest. It's exactly what it sounds like. Animal tissue chemically broken down to create a flavor so strong dogs become addicted to it. They won't eat anything else. That's not preference. That's manufactured dependency. If your dog has diabetes, the wheat gluten in this food spikes their blood sugar. If they have allergies, the unnamed meat byproducts could include the exact protein they're reacting to. If they're a senior dog, the sodium is destroying their kidneys with every meal. The company's response to the lawsuit, they settled for $1.2 million. No admission of wrongdoing. The product is still on shelves. The label is still misleading. And thousands of dog owners are still buying it because it's familiar. Have you been feeding your dog this brand for years? How's their kidney function? Number 5. This brand markets itself as grain-free, natural, holistic. The can has earthy colors. The ingredients list looks clean at first glance. No corn, no wheat, no soy. You switched to this brand because you wanted to avoid fillers. Because you read that grain-free is better. In 2019, the FDA opened an investigation into grain-free dog foods and their link to dilated cardiomyopathy, DCM, a heart condition where the heart muscle weakens and can no longer pump blood effectively. Dogs were dying of sudden heart failure. Young dogs. Healthy breeds with no genetic predisposition. This brand was named in 47 of the DCM cases reported to the FDA, 47%. The common factor was the use of legumes and potatoes as primary carbohydrate sources instead of grains, peas, lentils, chickpeas. These ingredients interfere with taurine absorption. Taurine is an amino acid critical for heart function. When taurine levels drop, the heart deteriorates. Dogs develop labored breathing, exercise intolerance, fluid buildup in the abdomen. By the time symptoms appear, the heart damage is often irreversible. Owners thought they were making the healthier choice. They were inducing heart disease. But there's another problem with this brand. Third-party lab testing in 2022 found heavy metal contamination, lead, arsenic, cadmium. The levels were below FDA action limits, but above what the EU allows. Lead accumulates in bones and organs. It causes neurological damage, behavioral changes, aggression, seizures. Arsenic is a known carcinogen. Long-term exposure increases cancer risk. Cadmium damages kidneys. It builds up over time because dogs can't efficiently excrete it. The food itself has a strong pea smell, almost sweet. The texture is chunky but mushy. That's the potato starch breaking down. The color is darker than traditional wet food because of the lentil content. It looks healthier. It's not. If your dog is a golden retriever, a Doberman, or a Cocker Spaniel, they're genetically prone to DCM already. This food accelerates it. If they're a puppy under 2 years old, their developing heart is even more vulnerable. If they've been on this food for more than 6 months, you need to get their taurine levels checked immediately. The company's response to the FDA investigation, they released a statement saying grain-free diets are safe. They cited their own internal studies, no independent verification, no formula changes. They're still selling the same food that's been linked to hundreds of heart failures. Did you switch to grain-free because you thought it was premium? How's your dog's heart? Number 4. This brand is the budget option, the one you buy in bulk at warehouse stores. 12 cans for $9. You justified it because your dog isn't picky, because wet food is wet food, because spending $4 a can seemed excessive. In 2020, this brand had 3 separate recalls in 5 months. The first was for elevated levels of pentobarbital. Pentobarbital is a euthanasia drug. It's used to euthanize animals. The only way it gets into dog food is if euthanized animals were rendered into the meat meal. Let me be clear about what that means. Your dog was eating other euthanized dogs, cats, possibly livestock that was chemically put down. The pentobarbital survives the rendering process. It concentrates in the fat. When your dog eats it, they're consuming trace amounts of euthanasia drugs with every meal. The symptoms of pentobarbital exposure include drowsiness, dizziness, nausea, and in high doses coma. Even low-level chronic exposure causes lethargy and neurological depression. Owners describe their dogs as slowing down, less playful, sleeping more. They thought it was age. It was poisoning. The second recall was for salmonella contamination, not potential salmonella. Confirmed active salmonella in finished product. This is a bacteria that causes severe gastrointestinal illness, vomiting, bloody diarrhea, dehydration. In puppies and senior dogs, it can be fatal. But here's the scariest part. Dogs can be asymptomatic carriers. They shed the bacteria in their feces. If you have kids, if you're immunocompromised, if you're elderly, you're at risk. You clean the dog bowl, you pet your dog, you touch your face. That's how cross-contamination happens. The third recall was for metal fragments, actual pieces of metal found in the food, from processing equipment breaking down. Imagine your dog swallowing a shard of stainless steel. Perforated stomach, internal bleeding. Emergency surgery. The food has a rancid smell. That's oxidized fat. Rancidity produces free radicals, which damage cells and contribute to cancer. The texture is slimy. That's bacterial growth on the surface of low-quality protein. The color varies wildly from can to can because the meat sources are inconsistent. If your dog is immunocompromised, if they're recovering from illness, if they're a puppy with an underdeveloped immune system, this food is actively dangerous, not just low quality, dangerous. The company settled lawsuits related to the pentobarbital recall for an undisclosed amount. They implemented approved sourcing protocols. Translation: they promised to try harder. The food is still sold at the same price point, with the same profit margins, with the same meat sources. Are you saving $2 a can while poisoning your dog? Number 3. This brand is sold exclusively at pet specialty stores. The packaging is minimalist. The marketing emphasizes human-grade ingredients. The price point is higher than premium vet brands. You bought it because the store employee recommended it, because it felt like the responsible choice. In 2023, an independent lab study funded by consumer advocacy groups tested this brand for mycotoxins. Mycotoxins are toxic compounds produced by molds. They develop when grains or ingredients are stored improperly. The study found aflatoxin levels at 18 parts per billion. The FDA action level is 20 ppb. This brand was just under the legal limit. Here's the problem. Aflatoxins are among the most potent carcinogens in existence. They cause liver cancer. Even low-level chronic exposure increases cancer risk significantly. The EU sets their limit at 10 ppb. This brand wouldn't be legal to sell in Europe. But mycotoxins aren't the only issue. This brand uses carrageenan as a thickener. I mentioned this earlier with another brand. But this one uses a higher concentration. Carrageenan causes intestinal inflammation. In dogs with sensitive stomachs, it triggers chronic diarrhea, bloody stool, weight loss. The human-grade claim is marketing. Yes, the ingredients are technically suitable for human consumption before processing, but the final product isn't produced in a human food facility. It's not held to human food safety standards. The term human grade isn't legally regulated for pet food. Companies can claim it without third-party verification. The protein source is turkey, but it's mechanically separated turkey. This is a paste made by forcing turkey carcasses through a sieve under high pressure. Bones, cartilage, connective tissue, all pulverized into a slurry. It's legal. It's also disgusting. The food has a smooth pate texture, almost too smooth. That's because it's heavily processed. The color is uniform light brown. That's artificial coloring added for human appeal. Dogs don't care what color their food is. The coloring is for you. If your dog has a history of gastrointestinal issues, the carrageenan is making it worse. If they're predisposed to cancer, the aflatoxin is increasing their risk. If you have multiple dogs and one develops cancer while on this food, check what the others are eating. The company markets transparency. They publish ingredient sources on their website. But when questioned about the aflatoxin levels, they released a statement saying all their products meet FDA guidelines. Technically true. Ethically bankrupt. Did you pay premium prices for human-grade marketing while feeding your dog potential carcinogens? Number 2. This brand has been around for over 60 years. It's the one your grandparents fed their farm dogs. The iconic design, the nostalgic advertising, the idea that it's a tried and true American classic. You trust it because it's familiar, because it's been around forever, because tradition means quality. In 2018, this brand was involved in one of the largest pet food recalls in history, over 20 million cans pulled from shelves. The reason? Inadequate processing led to potential contamination with Clostridium botulinum. Botulism. Botulism is a paralytic illness. The toxin blocks nerve function. Dogs lose the ability to walk, to swallow, to breathe. It's fatal without immediate emergency treatment. Even with treatment, recovery takes months. Permanent nerve damage is common. The company claimed no illnesses were reported, but the FDA received over 300 complaints of dogs showing neurological symptoms consistent with botulism: weakness starting in the hind legs, difficulty swallowing, drooping eyelids, respiratory distress. Why did inadequate processing happen? Cost cutting. The company changed their sterilization protocols to speed up production. They reduced the temperature, shortened the processing time, saved money, risked lives. But even outside of recalls, this brand's everyday formula is problematic. The primary preservative is BHA, butylated hydroxyonazole. The state of California lists BHA as a possible carcinogen. Studies have shown it causes tumors in rats. The EU is phasing it out. In America, it's in most commercial wet dog foods. The protein source is listed as beef, but it's beef lungs, beef liver, beef tongue, beef snouts, all technically beef. All parts Americans wouldn't eat, all legal to put in pet food. The nutrient profiles are inconsistent. Organ meats have different amino acid compositions than muscle meat. Your dog isn't getting balanced nutrition. They're getting whatever was cheapest at the rendering plant that week. The food smells like iron. That's blood content. The texture is grainy. That's bone meal. The liquid that separates in the can is excess water mixed with fat. It pools on top because the emulsifiers are cheap and ineffective. If your dog is a large breed, their risk of bloat is already elevated. The high water content and gas producing ingredients in this food increase that risk. If they're a brachycephalic breed like a bulldog or pug, respiratory distress from botulism is even more dangerous. If they're elderly, their immune system can't fight bacterial contamination. The company is owned by a multinational conglomerate now. They've shifted production overseas. Quality control is outsourced. Profit margins are up. Product quality is down. Is your nostalgia for this brand worth your dog's life? Number 1. This is the brand you switched to when you wanted the absolute best. The one that costs $6 a can. The one with the premium boutique branding. The one sold at high-end pet stores and marketed as chef-crafted and restaurant quality. You felt good buying this. You felt like a responsible pet owner. In 2022, this brand was the subject of a federal lawsuit alleging fraudulent marketing and product contamination. Consumers reported their dogs developing acute kidney failure after eating this food. Veterinary toxicology reports found extremely high levels of phosphorus and magnesium. Excess phosphorus accelerates kidney disease. It causes mineral deposits in the kidneys. The organs harden. They stop filtering blood, toxins build up, dogs develop uremia. They vomit. They stop eating. They die. The lawsuit revealed that the brand's single source protein claim was false. DNA testing showed the beef formula contained chicken, pork, and lamb. The turkey formula contained duck and fish. This isn't just misleading. For dogs with protein allergies, this is dangerous. Owners thought they were avoiding allergens. They were feeding them directly. But here's what makes this brand the worst on this list. They marketed heavily to owners of dogs with medical conditions. Dogs with kidney disease, dogs with allergies, dogs with cancer. They positioned themselves as the therapeutic option, the safe choice, the one recommended by holistic veterinarians. And they knew their phosphorus levels were dangerous. Internal emails revealed during discovery showed quality control flagged the issue 11 months before the first dog died. Management decided that reformulating would delay product launches and hurt quarterly projections. They shipped it anyway. The food has a glossy appearance. That's added gelatin to make it look premium. The texture is described as flaked and tender. That's because the meat is mechanically separated and then reformed. It's not chunks of real meat. It's reconstituted protein paste shaped to look like meat. The smell is rich and savory. That's artificial flavor enhancers. Dogs shouldn't need artificial flavors to want to eat real meat. The fact that this food needs them tells you how little real meat is actually in there. If your dog has early-stage kidney disease, this food is accelerating their decline. If they have allergies, you've been unknowingly feeding them allergens for months. If they're a senior dog, the phosphorus is destroying their kidneys faster than age alone would. The lawsuit is still ongoing. The brand hasn't changed their formula. They haven't issued a recall. They released a PR statement denying all allegations and calling the lawsuit baseless. Meanwhile, more dogs are dying. This is the one that should make you the angriest. Because these people didn't just cut corners. They actively targeted vulnerable dogs. They lied to desperate owners. They profited from suffering. Is this premium food sitting in your refrigerator right now? Now let's talk about what you should be feeding your dog. After all of that, you need to know there are companies doing this right. Not perfectly, but right. 2 brands that prove this industry could operate with integrity if it wanted to. The first is a brand that sources all proteins from USDA-inspected facilities, not rendering plants, not byproduct suppliers, actual human-grade meat facilities. Their processing follows human food safety protocols. They test every batch for heavy metals, mycotoxins, and bacterial contamination. They publish those results on their website, transparently, with batch numbers. Their formulas are simple, 5 to 7 ingredients. You can pronounce all of them. No artificial preservatives, no carrageenan, no BHA or BHT. They use mixed tocopherols, which is vitamin E, as a natural preservative. The protein content is high, real muscle meat, not mechanically separated, not byproducts. The sodium levels are appropriate, under 80 milligrams per 100 grams. The phosphorus levels are balanced for long-term kidney health. They've never had a recall, not one, in 12 years of operation. That's not luck, that's quality control. The second brand operates on a subscription model. They cook the food in small batches, flash freeze it, ship it directly to you. No sitting in warehouses, no sitting on store shelves for months. Fresh food, real food. They employ a veterinary nutritionist to formulate every recipe. Each formula is AAFCO certified for complete and balanced nutrition. But beyond minimum standards, they optimize for longevity. Omega-3 fatty acids for brain health, antioxidants for immune function, prebiotics for gut health. Their sourcing is traceable. You can see which farm the chicken came from, which fishery the salmon came from. That level of transparency is rare. It's what the industry should be doing. Are these brands more expensive? Yes, you're paying 4 to 6 per day instead of 1 to 2, but you're also avoiding thousands in vet bills. Kidney disease treatment costs $7,000. Cancer treatment costs $5,000 to $15,000. Hospitalization for acute poisoning costs $2,000 to $5,000. Prevention is cheaper than treatment. Always, these brands prove the industry could do better. They prove that safe, nutritious, transparent dog food is possible. The fact that most companies choose not to make it isn't about feasibility. It's about profit margins. Here's what you need to do right now. Go to your pantry. Pull out every can of wet dog food you have. Check the brand against this list. If it's on here, throw it out. Don't donate it. Don't give it to someone else's dog. Throw it out. Go to your dog right now. Look at them. They trust you completely. They don't know what's safe. They don't know what's poison. They eat what you give them. That's the responsibility you took on. Check their symptoms: lethargy, excessive thirst, vomiting, diarrhea, weakness. These aren't just getting older. These could be poisoning. Get blood work done, kidney function, liver enzymes, complete blood count, catch problems early. Switch to one of the safe brands I mentioned. Transition slowly over 7-10 days. Mix the new food with whatever safe food you have. Let their digestive system adjust. Read every label, every ingredient, every guaranteed analysis. If you can't pronounce it, research it. If the company won't tell you where ingredients come from, don't buy it. Your dog's health is not a place to cut costs. It's not a place to trust marketing. It's not a place to assume regulation is protecting you. The FDA allows things in pet food that would be criminal in human food. You are your dog's only advocate. The companies on this list have proven they value profit over safety. They've proven they'll lie. They'll hide data. They'll keep selling contaminated food until forced to stop. They've proven they don't care about your dog. You now know the truth. What you do next is on you.